I have a few videos that have like 30 to 100,000 views, and I have videos that have like 500 to 1,500 views. Some of my 1,500 view videos have driven more revenue by far than
That's
videos that get
crazy.
30,000 views. So that's a game, but it's like, it's the right views. I have this one video that's, in the last like about probably almost 60 days has generated probably now approaching like close to 85K in revenue.
All right, I'm excited for this episode because I've got a good friend of mine and someone who's been, well, he's been building his online business now for well over 10 plus years. And I want to dig into how he's been able to generate seven figures yearly doing online coaching and teaching and consulting and all of that stuff. So, Greg Hickman, welcome to the podcast and thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So first off, let me know, what does the H stand for? Just Hickman? Is that the
Hat.
Oh.
Not just hat.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So now let's get into some more serious stuff. So all right, why don't you just kind of like let people know a little bit, like, how long have you been doing this? You and I met over 10 years ago. You
Yeah.
actually were I was hiring you as someone that was implementing and building out our webinar funnel. But kind of just lead people, like, you've been doing this a long time and I
Yeah.
really want this to be tactical to where, like, what's worked then, but more importantly, what's worked now,
Yep.
to get clients, to streamline your process so you're not on sales calls. Are you doing sales calls anymore? Are you selling to a doc? Like all of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Let's just dig in.
Yeah. So, like you said, 2015 is when we first started working together. I launched an agency, well, what became kind of an agency. We were behind the scenes of people like yourself, Dan Martell, Jamie Tardy, John Lee Dumas, like big names, basically building out, in many cases, their like webinar funnels, launch funnels, excuse me, helping them manage their, automation campaigns and stuff like that. So 2017, I actually launched my early 2017. I launched my arguably like first group program,
Mhm.
and kind of from there, uh, that revenue kind of took over any service-based revenue, and we phased out the done for you service about the end of 2017. And so really from early 2017 till now, we've been primarily doing like group programming, group coaching, consulting,
Mhm.
with agency owners that are looking to productize their service. And so, obviously, like what worked then, what worked now. When I was like working with folks like you, honestly, the only thing that I was really doing, which I actually still think is really relevant, I just didn't really know what I was doing.
Mhm.
I had a bunch of lead magnets to build my list. I think the number one thing still is like, how do you, with all the strategies, like building a list is and building an audience that you quote unquote own,
Mhm.
um, is still really powerful, especially when it comes to conversion. And I'll circle back to that. So, I had a handful of lead magnets out there that got people into some email sequences where we would email at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Mhm.
And one of those emails was um, really just pointing people to a YouTube video. Now, so I got started in YouTube really early, but not for the reasons that I am doing it now. I just liked video. It was easier for me to do video than write, and YouTube allowed me to have free hosting because I was cheap. And so I just posted the videos there, like not trying to build a YouTube audience because like people weren't even really doing that then. And so I would just email my list to the video because I felt the videos were easier for me to make. And that was
Mhm.
like kind of V1 of like Greg's marketing system.
Right.
Um, then I started running ads. And in probably like end of 2017, early 2018, and which worked for a very long time, was like you run ads to like a video sales letter or online training,
Mhm.
on demand, and that invited them to book a call. And that crushed. Like we ran that all the way through really to 2023, 2022, 2023. It definitely worked really, really well during COVID. But ad spend,
Mhm.
um, like for at our peak, we were spending 60K a month on ads.
Oof.
And at scale, that whole like ad to VSL to book a call, um, if you have one like bad month and you have a sales team, like you can go upside down pretty easily because like you're generating so many leads, but you kind of need a certain amount to convert to help offset that ad spend and recoup the ad spend and then some. And that was like as we were hitting that like 60K a month spend mark, it kind of started becoming unsustainable.
Mm,
And that also, I think, kind of was around. So this was again like 2022 into 2023, where a lot of the we started seeing a lot of people shift what they were using because like that was the playbook. Like, I mean, many people scaled to many multiple seven figures that way. And what was great, it was easy. It was like find the right ad, find the right webinar, and then like, it's very simple to troubleshoot that as a funnel. It
hmm
was very linear. Um, and something we had talked about previously offline was I think the world is different now for whether that's COVID, whether that's uh, just how many people are coming into this space, how many
mm,
options there are, AI, all the things. And there's many studies that have kind of reported that trust is like at an all-time low and skepticism is at an all-time high.
mm.
And, I remember one of my peers, like, he's like, why do you waste all this time on YouTube? I'm like when he's like, I just run ads to my VSL. And it got to the point where like, as all of that was working less and less, I kept noticing that all of our buyers were like, oh yeah, like I was binging your YouTube videos. I've been following you for 6 months. And then my friend who has that zero organic content out in the world, people are like, I loved your ad, I loved your training, but I can't find any existence of you online. They're like, which makes me even more skeptical. Like, I don't see you posting. Like, I don't know, like, if this is real or not. But like, people were able to go do their due diligence on me and like just see that I had, years of videos that the VSL brought in the people that were ready to buy now.
Right.
Like they were already, looking for a solution. But that's like, I see all different sorts of studies. There's like, some people say like 3% of your like ideal market is ready to buy at any given time. It's
hmm
like that's small. Like
Mm.
so, the 3% are the people that are buying like right away or within like the first arguably like 60 to 90 days.
Right.
But everybody else is like kind of after that, like way after that. They're like, I've been following you for 6 months. Or we've had people come in, they're like, I've been on your list and watching your YouTube videos for over a year, and now I'm ready. I'm like, well, this is the first time you've ever even reached out to me, right? It's
hmm
like there's a ton of lurking going on.
Yeah.
And so all of that led to just like I think what a lot of people are now calling like the messy middle. It's like, okay, you get them into your world and they're going to like ping pong around for a little while, try to figure out if they trust you, learn a little bit more about who you are. And you need enough content to be able to do that. And like that's kind of, I think, led to a different way of acquisition in kind of the coaching consulting space today.
hmm
That all is based off of, and I don't know how, like, I mean, it's based off this Google study. Have you heard of like, they call it the zero moment of truth?
No, I have not heard of that.
Have you heard of the 7-Eleven 4? People talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that came out of that study. And so
Okay.
Google did this study called like the zero moment of truth. And basically they've found that, like before someone's making the buying decision, they've spent 7 hours consuming content to inform that decision across 11 touch points, across four different
Wow.
mediums. So like
hmm
mobile, email, YouTube, like platforms.
hmm
And like so you might get them in the lead magnet, which again still works, is still relevant, like you get them on your newsletter, but like then they're going to follow you on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever your platform is, or
Yeah.
you know stay on your email list until they've hit that like kind of 7 hour-ish mark. And again,
hmm
this is probably the majority of buyers, not that like 3%.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And so now the game is just like, how do we get them into our world and allow them to binge and like facilitate and engineer this binge fest to
hmm
accelerate kind of how fast they get to that 7 hours. And like now how I think about what I create and what I'm doing is all based on really the premise of how do I get them to the 7 hours as fast as possible? And every video that I release or every piece of content that I release could be that seventh hour, could be that 11th touch point, could
Good
be that
point.
fourth for one person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that's everything is kind of now built off of that. So that was kind of like a big kind of context. So I'll let you
Yeah, no, I
think
think
about it.
that that's great. And I mean, I even just think of my own actions. I mean, think of yourself too, right?
$100%.
If you're starting to get like familiar with a concept, right, that you're into and you're like, "Oh, I really like that concept." And maybe it was, and this recently happened to me. John Meese, who actually was Michael Hyatt's dean of Platinum University for like
Yeah.
4,500 people. And I didn't know of him other than Michael Hyatt had him there. And I wasn't part of that platform university, but I saw him in some stuff.
Yeah.
And and that was it. That was like probably 6 years ago, you know? And then
Yeah.
he popped up on Nathan Barry's podcast.
Hmm.
And it was a video podcast. It wasn't, I don't really listen to audio podcasts as much anymore. I'm more like video.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I went and I heard him, and it didn't have a lot of views. It was like a couple thousand views.
Yeah.
But I saw him there. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him, you know? And then I started to go down the rabbit hole of him and started because
Yeah.
I liked the concept, I liked the
Yeah.
model. And then long story short is I ended up becoming his client.
Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
but it took like I was trying to
Yeah.
find more on him because I
Right.
wanted to kind of hear more of his interviews and his
Yeah.
and I started to like him more because I was like, oh, he's got same values as I do. And so when we got on a call, it wasn't really a sales call much,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know? And so
Yeah.
I can 100% see on the other side of it is like you're saying, is like the more that we can give them of us with educating and also sprinkling in, you take off a certain day every week to go mountain biking, right? And you let
Yeah. Yeah.
people know that. They're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, you got 2 kids. That's cool. I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I think that that's so powerful. How do you feel like that's affected your conversions?
A lot from a right fit client. And this was been like a up and down all around journey for me because part of my story that I've talked about. So like um, when we were like spending a lot on ads, it was, for a while, like I got myself up to 30K a month ad spend. And then I brought in a media buyer and trained him up, and then like ended up having another consultant come in and help us. And we got to like the goal. The goal was always like, hey, if it's working, like spend more.
Right.
And that was the play that everyone was running. And it's like, okay, well, like now I have a media buyer, I got a
Hmm.
copywriter, I have 3 to 4 appointment setters and 3 closers. All on my
Jeez.
like my sales team was big, and my life became managing this team, which
Hmm.
I hated.
Hmm.
Uh, but I was like powering through it because like that's like every person that I talked to at the time was like, that's the move. And
Hmm.
that's when like I started feeling like I'm building something that I don't like anymore
Hmm.
because I'm following people and taking advice from people that this is the thing that they wanted. And for whatever reasons coming out of COVID or just my life situations, like I just was getting clear on what I wanted. And back to your point, like through the content, you start to see these people's values, their worldview, how they operate, what their life looks like. And I started gravitating towards like different people and like really getting connected to what I was enjoying
Hmm.
versus like being influenced by what other people were doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I built this behemoth and I hated it. And I was like not enjoying, I scaled myself out of all the parts of the business that I love and basically became like a manager.
Hmm.
Because like even at four setters and 3 closers, it's still not really enough to justify like a sales manager.
Hmm.
And I also had a lot of resistance around that because like I didn't want the team. I was like, I built this team. We were at like 12 or some odd people, 13 some odd people, like with fractional people. And I'm like, I just like this is not what I wanted to create.
Hmm.
And which actually was a a repeat of I've done this before in a different capacity, and I was like, okay, I got to figure something out. So
Yeah.
anyway, in 2023, I fired half my team, more than half my team at the time, and scaled back ad spend all the way back to like 2 to 5K a month,
Wow.
and like gradually.
Yeah.
And 2023 became even like this was halfway through the year, like August, I made this decision, and I felt like I'd been on a slog for like 2 years. Like the engine was always working just well enough to justify not turning it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 2023 ended up being my most profitable year ever once I shed all that weight.
Hmm.
And then 2024 followed it, et cetera. And like we continue that path to profit. And I was just looking for a different way to sell
Hmm.
because we were finding that like that ad to VSL was like hitting kind of like its peak, well, way past its peak. Like
Yeah.
that whole trust thing we talked about, like really was catching up, and like there needed to be a better way. And then, despite all of that effort, everyone that bought still was saying that they were consuming a ton of YouTube. And like,
Mm.
I'm like, all right, so like we're spending all this money to get them into our world, but they're still taking for the most part like
Yeah.
a decent amount of time to buy. And
Hmm.
like again, those economics didn't work. So that was like kind of the context of like something needed to change. And quite frankly, I think a lot of people, I mean, I know a lot of people that have built up seven-figure businesses that literally don't exist anymore because of the same problem,
Hmm.
but they just kept going, and it was like not profitable. Like you,
Right.
and if you're listening, you would be shocked.
Hmm.
Like maybe you've heard this before, but like so many people that are like, we do 7, 8 figures,
Hmm.
because I've been in masterminds with them, are barely making any money. Like
Right.
in many cases, losing money. And it's like,
Mhm.
wait, you have this big of a team, you're doing, you know, 10 million a year, and like you're still walking away at home with like 200. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
math is jacked.
Yeah.
So,
But you got a plaque though.
yeah, but
But you
yeah,
got a plaque,
you
you
got a
know?
cool plaque that you pay to get. Play. Uh,
Brilliant marketing,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah,
on their
brilliant.
end, you know what I
Yeah. So
mean?
anyway, like things are different for me now and how we get clients. And not to say that some of that stuff doesn't work. There's a lot of, I think the reality is still a lot of stuff works.
Hmm.
There are some things that are working less than they used to. Like if you only rely on ads to VSL and you only sell high ticket, I think that's definitely not nearly as effective as it used to be.
Hmm.
And I don't actually see many people doing that at all anymore.
Hmm.
Um, Outbound, like a lot of certain like service-based businesses like heavily rely on like cold outbound email, cold LinkedIn outbound. I've never done that stuff before in my life. I never liked it. I
Hmm.
never bought anything from anyone that outreached to me, because in my mind, like if you're really good at what you do, you shouldn't have to go beg for business.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
you would be found. um,
Right.
and so like, but I know people crushing it with outbound, but that train is also kind of seeming to slow down.
Hmm.
And the train that everyone keeps hopping on is like content.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like now people are building out these big content teams, all because of that 7-11-4 thing, you know? And so
Hmm.
it's how do we now, instead of a funnel, how do
Hmm.
we think of the acquisition experience as like building our own mini ecosystem that works for us?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think that's why you're starting to see a lot of like different styles of like sell by chat or sell with a doc or no sales calls or
Hmm.
still sales calls. But like now it's like what works for you, and back to how
Hmm.
you bought. And like you have to think about how you buy. At least I do. I know
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
that'll be like, oh, it works, so do it. But I'm
Yeah.
like I think about how I buy, and like
Yeah.
I don't even want to be on sales calls. Like
Right.
just tell me what it is. Like I've been following you for 6 months. I'm already sold as long as the offer is what I feel like I need. So just
Yeah.
tell me what it is and I'll buy, right?
Yeah.
And so I kind of keep that as a lens for myself.
So, okay, so let's dig in here on this part. So,
Yep.
um, sales calls.
Yep.
Um, I've never loved them.
Hate.
And I always am trying to find another solution. The one thing I really did not like was the triage and then the sales call. Like
Mm.
it's like the setup and then the closer. It's like I don't know. What are you doing right? Like, so lead me through your flow today
Yep.
and what it
Yeah.
looks like. So I'm just going to say you're creating content right now
Yep.
that is going out there that is going to attract your people. It's also
Yep.
going to serve the people that have already been out there watching some of your stuff. So you're giving them more stuff to watch, and
Yeah.
you're going to give people on your email list probably something to point to where you can. So you're building this trust,
Yes.
right? This trust center of like all of these
Yeah.
pieces that people are going. It's going to raise your trust.
Yep.
How are you getting? So is it lead magnet, and then from the lead magnet,
Yeah.
is it
I'll,
the
I'll
book
break
a
it down.
call?
I'll break it down. So we have two to three pieces of it. First, I will caveat that like I think like many people, um, the last couple of years as I was shifting away from like super reliance on ad spend into that VSL funnel, that I
Yeah.
went through a lot of experimentation. I was like repurposing content. I was like taking YouTube videos. I was on Instagram Reels. I was on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
I was on TikTok, and I was on YouTube Shorts. And like it was freaking exhausting, first of all.
Yeah.
And when we actually looked at the numbers, um, and I didn't give LinkedIn long enough. So like that's not fair to me to say LinkedIn didn't work because I know people that are crushing with LinkedIn, but like
Hmm.
LinkedIn didn't work for me and wasn't working for me. Um, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube Shorts all produced almost zero results in like data backed as like getting people to buy from us. And so I like play with Instagram because I'm a consumer of it. Like I'll do some stories.
Hmm.
We still run some ads, which I'll get to. So like I am on Instagram from an ads perspective,
Hmm.
but like I'm not doing a ton of reels. We publish a few reels that get cut from our events, which happen 4 times a year.
Hmm.
But like I'm not intentionally making reels anymore, other than the ones that we take from that.
Got it.
I'm not really posting on Instagram. Like if I
Hmm.
didn't have to like if I it'd be totally fine if I wasn't on Instagram. I'm just there a little bit because I like consuming Instagram.
Right. Right.
Um, so the whole thing now is, well, one, the core is strategically created YouTube videos.
Hmm.
Um, in the description to the YouTube video, and on there's like an about tab in your
Yep.
YouTube. Depending upon what I'm talking about, there's always one, two, three links.
Okay.
One says work with me, and it takes you to a sales page that allows you to apply to our program.
Okay.
One is just, hey, get on my newsletter
Hmm.
for weekly advice. And
Okay.
then if there is a lead magnet that is related to the video,
Hmm.
that will replace the general newsletter opt-in.
Okay.
Um, and that's actually really the only two links that we use.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. There's one more sometimes. I have this $7 book
Okay.
um, that I'll put in the description sometimes if and when relevant.
Okay.
And so basically the goal is sort of like ads. So like
Hmm.
the beauty about the linear ads to VSL to whatever, it was okay, well you can see how many views the ad got. You can look at your click-through rate. What's the conversion rate on the opt-in page?
Hmm.
And like you can figure out where the bottleneck is. What I've realized is YouTube is the same thing. Every video can fundamentally serve as a mini VSL or a mini webinar or whatever you want to call it, training. And
Sure.
so I look at every video and I have tracking that we use to
Hmm.
do this. It's like how many views, of the views, how many clicked on one of our links
Hmm.
by link. We look at the conversion rate to the link
Hmm.
and then the conversion rate of the sales page to apply.
Hmm.
And then we optimize for that. And so, like,
Got it.
why did this video get way more clicks? Oh my God, I had 3 calls to action to go click the link. Okay, do that
Right.
again.
Right.
Oh, this video was like a deep dive on our process. And like, or this one was a case study. Like, okay,
Hmm.
cool. And what's really been fascinating about this is like I have a few videos that have like 30 to 100,000 views, and I have videos that have like 500 to 1,500 views. Some of my 1,500 view videos have driven more revenue by far than
That's
videos that get
crazy.
30,000 views. And
That's
so,
crazy.
like, it's really not about like it is about the video is about getting more views because it's like just like ads. It's like how many people can you get it in front
Sure.
of, and so that's a game. But it's like it's the right views.
Right. Right.
And so basically, it's like I spend a ton of time on the packaging of the YouTube video, the topics,
Hmm.
and the scripting.
Hmm.
And I'm intentionally driving people from my videos either directly to the links in the description. Sometimes I don't even mention the links in the description, um, because they'll go there anyway.
Sure.
Uh, and when you find a video that works, so I have this one video that's, in the last like about probably almost 60 days has generated probably now approaching like close to 85K in revenue. So one video like in 2 months. Um, when I
Oh,
create the next video, how do I tie that video to the video that's converting?
yeah.
And so like you see, like the game with YouTube is not necessarily get them off of YouTube, it's to get them to keep binging,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'll do a video and then I'll find a way to be like, all right, well, and if this is your problem, then go watch this video.
Right. Right.
And now I have like these little mini clusters, almost
Hmm.
like video funnels, if you will. That's like
Hmm.
this video takes you to this video, takes you to this video, and that's the video where I make the call to action, like the more direct call to action. And
Hmm.
it's like I'm facilitating this little cycle of binge that's leading them to the place where the video that's working.
Right.
And sometimes I might do 3 to 4 videos to get to that one. Sometimes it might make sense to take them right to that video.
Hmm.
And so now like that, because YouTube, like
Hmm.
those videos are working for us 24/7. So like that little compounding machine,
Yep.
you have 5 to 6 videos that point to this conversion video. Then you find another video that's driving sales. Well, let me do another handful of videos that point to that. And you have like these little armies that are working for
Hmm.
you all the time. And every time you make another video that points it to the next one, it just kind of compounds and
Hmm.
keeps it going. Like it's like that flywheel. And so like that is the primary vehicle right now, like from an organic perspective,
Hmm.
that is bringing people into our world. And so we were just looking at the data this morning, like, and again, if like anyone goes to look at my channel, you'll see like there'll be a video that has 30K views, and then most of them are like 1,500 to 3,000 views. Like our
Hmm.
audience isn't like we're
Hmm.
a niche channel, like
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
would probably be doing this. We're now getting a little over 100 new organic leads from either the lead magnet or the general newsletter opt-in in the
Hmm.
description, whether we mention it or not, every single week.
That's
So now
great.
we're getting like 400-ish opt-ins a week organically
Hmm.
just from releasing one additional video.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Greg, let
that's
me
the
ask you
core.
though, before you keep going here, are you having the AdSense turned on as well?
We have AdSense turned on, but it's like, I mean, like you get like $7, 20. Like I
Right,
think
but
it's
I'm just
30.
looking at collectively, if you're making a couple $100, you're getting paid from YouTube to actually build your
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, that's not the play for niche channels though. Like actually now I'm starting to hear a bunch of the people that teach other people YouTube
Yeah.
advocating for turning monetization off,
Really?
because like you need to drive a lot of views to make it significant revenue.
Hmm.
Like me making 50 to $100 extra a month because of my views,
Yeah.
like if if I turn it, and I'm contemplating turning off. I haven't done it yet.
That'd be a good test.
Yeah, because like, well, you think about it. If someone's watching my video and they're like loving it, and then they get interrupted by an ad, like that's just messed up my potential conversion to one of those links that I told you about.
Yeah, but my only thing is I think that YouTube's still going to place ads if you turn yours off. That you're just not going to get the monetization for it.
I think you can turn off the ability to have ads on your channel, which
Really?
yeah, I'm pretty
I'm
sure you
not.
can.
I didn't. I thought there was talk about it, but I didn't know that you
I
actually could do that. But
Yeah.
that's an
Well, yeah.
interesting piece. Um,
But
and
yes, I know people like a Chris Doe, who's a friend of mine, who has a
yeah,
channel called The Future.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I don't know, probably 3 million subs now,
yeah,
which subs don't even matter anymore. But like, I mean, he makes multiple 6 figures a year because like his videos do hundreds of thousands, if
yeah,
not millions of views.
yeah.
Like the Dan Martells, the Alex Hormozis, like they make a lot of money that can offset like Chris Doe's whole. I don't know if he's still talking about it, but he had this whole stretch of let your YouTube videos like that monetization
Yeah.
cover your team that helps you do YouTube.
Right.
But like you have to have so many views
Yeah,
for
you're
that to
right.
even become a possibility. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
you're right.
most niche channels probably aren't gonna make that.
Yeah. I guess the other side of that coin is though, and this is another thing that I've thought about is like, well, if you're not letting ads on your videos, will YouTube throttle you and not show you because they're not making money?
I don't know. I don't know.
So it'd be an
The
interesting test if you want to
Yeah.
test that for us all and
Yeah.
come back and
Well,
report
one of
on
the
it.
guys that I follow has turned them off, and he actually in his test has made more money. But
Okay.
his channel is more established. Like I'd say, he's been around longer and has more subs and views than me. But I'm not sure if
Okay.
that's relevant. But yeah, that might be a test worth
Mhm.
doing. Um, the but yeah, the beauty now and like why I'm such a not like even more bullish on YouTube is for a couple reasons. One, I realize I don't want to be everywhere. I don't want to become this content
Me either.
machine.
Yep.
I don't want to
Yep.
have to bring on more team just to make more shorts that I didn't even want to make in the first place. So it's like,
Right.
okay, so like cool, I understand. But like YouTube shorts for me, while they did get some views, they still accounted for um like less than 3% of my
Yeah.
subscribers.
Yeah.
And the analytics show that it wasn't helping them actually go to my long form anyway.
Nope.
And so like the long form is what actually drives conversion.
Yep.
So that's like the core engine, right? So like
Okay.
my email list is growing. I have a like a new lead welcome sequence that
How
drives
long
them
is
to
that? Just curious.
7 days.
Okay. That's nice. And then they
And
get put into your main list.
yep, and I email my list like 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
If I'm like promoting something, sometimes I'll have like a week where it's like 5 emails.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like 2 to 3 a week.
Okay.
Um, and most of which have at least a soft call to action. And
Hmm.
then there'll be like a campaign
Okay.
sporadically that has
Yep.
more direct.
Yep.
Because we open our doors for applications and then we close them.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I announce that. So that's
Yep.
part of the strategy. But yeah, so a lot of it is like get them into our world. So we get people watching, going to the sales page, applying, and I'll get into the sales process in a minute. Or watching, going on the email list, getting on the email chain, applying from the
Hmm.
email, which the email takes them to the same sales page, apply,
Hmm.
sales
Okay.
process. The other thing that
Okay.
we're doing, there's two other things that we're doing that have been a key piece of this puzzle is I stopped, at least for now, running ads to free lead magnets.
Okay.
I have a $7 book that we run ads to. We spend about 5K a month on that. And when you go to buy the book, you can either buy the book for 7 or you can upgrade and get the audio book and a 90-minute training kind of complementing the book.
Hmm.
And the total order then becomes like $35 or something.
Okay.
And so we're acquiring customers,
Hmm.
and we've been optimizing a lot of things, trying to figure out the ads to low ticket.
Hmm.
Because what we have found is that at least up until right now, and we started this in March of this year, 2025,
Okay.
and like 1% of book buyers, sometimes 1.5, that buy the book end up applying and buying the next thing.
Okay.
So like that's like
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
solid
So
actually.
we're optimizing that, and on some months, well, in the first handful of months of launching this, we were getting $7 customers for $6, which was
Oh wow.
crazy. But right now, we're spending a little bit more than I think we're spending like $9 to get a $7 customer. But
Okay.
when you look at we're at like I think 12 to 18%, depending upon the month, of those buyers take the order bump.
Hmm.
And so we're almost always at least breaking even on our ad spend of 5K.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's good.
yeah, so like we're acquiring customers that almost break even,
Hmm.
that are then going into that same email sequence that then start to see the videos. So like we're acquiring people that have a little bit more intent and have bought this little book that
Yeah.
speak to exactly what we teach.
Yeah.
So that's one other acquisition strategy, like top of funnel, if you will.
Hmm.
And then the other thing that's kind of like middle funnel for us, we did it for a little bit, we stopped doing it, and now we're bringing it back. Is we do these like $100 workshops,
Okay. Yep.
2 hours live. Um, I've historically only ever promoted them to my email list,
Hmm.
and I've historically also capped it at around 30 people. I'm going
Okay.
to test. We're doing one in September that we're about to start promoting. That I'll probably just see how many people I can get on it.
Hmm.
And this is basically just taking a concept or a framework from inside of our program and teaching it live for 2 hours, like where we're actually doing stuff.
Yep.
So we've
Yep.
done one on helping people design their offer. We've helped some on like how we do content marketing, like how to come up with content. We've done one on like how we plan our year,
Hmm.
and those work really well because they pay 100 to come in.
Yep.
They get access to the recording. They get to experience me live for $100,
Yep.
and Q&A.
Hmm.
And we make an offer to all of those people to join the higher level program. And every time we've done it, so like 27 to 32 people um, buy, we've always had like anywhere from like 5 to 8 people upgrade to the bigger thing.
Hmm. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
So, okay, let me ask you on that though. I mean, that's a great topic. I've done some of those smaller
yeah,
priced workshops, and I'm going to start doing them probably here. Maybe even might do one a month.
yeah.
But you said you limit it to 30. Is that just a play to kind of like this is going to be very small and intimate and private? You're going to be able to get my attention, or did you just cap it because you just wanted to cap it? Like, what's the reasoning for that?
The reasoning was to keep it more intimate so that I could like spot the people that I thought were going to be a good fit and like
Okay.
intentionally follow up with them if needed.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that was kind of the main reason.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, it adds a level of scarcity there too, right?
yeah,
Like when
there's
you're promoting
scarcity.
it.
There's scarcity, and also this was all like internal marketing, right? Like I wasn't really posting on my social about it. This
Right.
was all just like this was like a 3 to 5 day email sequence
Yep.
telling my email list, "Hey, I'm doing this workshop." So
Yep.
to me, this was like a let me get those lurkers that have been on the fence or considering it, but like
Yeah.
maybe they weren't ready to, spend more money and they just
Yep.
wanted a taste.
Hmm.
And that kind of goes back to I think like the overarching theme of all of this is like, all right, $7, like super low friction. It explains our methodology and how
Hmm.
we look at our audience and like how they grow.
Sure.
And so like if you don't buy into that, like you're not going to be a good fit anyway.
Hmm.
And so like $7, like back to the values, like do we have similar values? Do
Hmm.
we approach and are we trying to approach business growth the same way?
Right.
And I'll get people to buy the book and they'll be like, I now get how to grow. I was always trying to do it this other way, which never made sense to me. This makes so much sense. And those are the people that end up, upgrading
Yeah.
in short time.
Yeah.
And or the people that buy the workshop, it was, hey, like I've been following you for a while. Like I just wanted to get like I've been in other programs. Like I just needed like this let me get a feel for like how you
Yeah.
would coach or advise me in
Hmm.
real time. And so
Yep.
I think like back to that trust factor, this allows people like a really low friction, low commitment. Like they're not signing up for a year-long program. It's not 10K. It's
Hmm.
like an easy way for that person who's like maybe a little bit skeptical to like get a taste. Like,
Hmm.
do I
Yeah.
vibe with Greg or not?
Yeah, yeah. And so let me ask you this. So like from there, like the call to action on that is like go apply.
Yeah, so my call to action is super soft because they bought something. So
Mhm.
at the beginning of the workshop, I basically quickly say, hey, look, this is what we're going to be covering. This
Mhm.
little thing that we're talking about today is a part of a bigger system. I kind of like highlight the bigger system.
Sure.
I drop a link to our offer document, which now will transition to the sales process that
Mhm.
explains the program. We're about to open spots, but since you bought the workshop, we have a couple spots open for people just from this workshop.
Mm. Okay.
And so if you vibe with it, there's a link in there to apply. I mentioned that 2 more times, like 3 times total,
Mhm.
very subtle, soft, drop the link back in. And then I'll follow up with an email. Hey, if you were thinking about it, here are all the details one more time.
Mhm. Okay, so now let's get into that part of it.
Yep.
So you don't say, "Hey, book a call." You're
No.
like, "Hey, fill out the application." Now, if they fill out the application, and I'm assuming there's like criteria there, where does it leave them when they submit that? Does it
Yeah.
give them like
Yeah.
immediate answer, or does it say we'll be in touch in
Yeah.
24 hours? And then do you say, let's get on a call, or don't you do a call?
Yeah. Yeah. So V1 of this was that document allowed them to book a call.
Okay.
Um, we had been kind of this year, so up till this point, has really been like a transition out of sales calls.
Okay.
And I do think if you've been doing sales calls, I think having like a bridge is easier than just
Hmm.
like cold hard cutting off sales calls. Because here's the thing that I have learned. Uh, Selling without sales calls sounds great.
Hmm.
And it is. It's
Hmm.
awesome.
Right.
Uh, but you, in most cases, most definitely in the beginning,
Hmm.
you will likely make less money.
Hmm.
And so I think more than just like, yes, can you get it to the point where you make more money? I will get to that in a second. But I'm in a season where it's like I'm truly trying to optimize for time. I am not maximizing for revenue.
Mm.
And so, like, some people are like, I'm trying to go balls to the wall and
Yep.
maximize revenue.
Hmm.
Then you might still want to stay doing sales calls because, like, they, if you send your offer doc to 10 people versus you take calls with 10 people, you
Hmm.
will close more people on the 10 calls. If
Hmm.
you're even like a halfway decent salesperson,
Hmm.
you will 100%.
Mm.
Um, Especially if they didn't consume enough content before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so uh, the aha for me was it's like when we had sales calls, we'd always look at, okay, like percent qualified, how many showed up, how many did you make the offer to? Because like not everyone gets the offer.
Right.
And you have to look at how many offers are you making?
Hmm.
Because if it's 10 offer docs versus 10 call offers, you're likely going to make more money on the 10 calls.
Hmm.
Where it gets interesting, and this is where audience comes in, is well, if I can get the offer in front of 100 people,
Mm.
can I make more than if I take, well, obviously I don't want to have 100 calls, but like
Right.
I can get the offer in front of 100 people and
Mm.
make 20, 30 sales maybe,
Hmm.
or I could take however many calls it takes to get that. So like there has to be more like way more offers made with the
Hmm.
doc to
Hmm.
get as many sales as it would take to get from a sales call, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, no, it does 100%. So,
And so, like, if you
yeah.
don't have a huge audience, like, it's likely gonna take longer. You might
Hmm.
be okay with that, and then that's fine. But like, you
Hmm.
have to kind of go in with that expectation. One thing I want to call on this, like, in this transition, and I don't know if because you mentioned like selling the chat, like the
Hmm.
doc. When I was like get out of sales calls,
Yeah.
a lot of people do this whole sell by chat thing,
Mm.
which is basically the discovery in the chat
Yeah.
to then send the offer doc or
Hmm.
discovery in the chat, qualification in the chat to then book a call.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, like I think I can mess with this, like if it gets me off sales calls. But back to how I said it earlier, I was like, I actually don't like being on social that much.
Hmm.
And so like, wait, now I'm in the DMs all the time. This sucks. I'm like, I don't want to be doing that. And I
Right.
also don't want to be hiring someone to be in my DMs all the time. Like,
Right.
I don't even like that.
Yeah.
I don't buy like that either.
Mm.
So um, that's when I was like, oh, getting off of sales calls for most people up until I think recently for me, I've realized just means sell by chat. And I'm
Hmm.
like, but I didn't want to sell by chat. So what's my option? And so now we're at what we do now, which is they apply.
Hmm.
Um, that comes into our CRM. I review it. So yes, they get an email. I'm reviewing your application. You'll hear from us in 24 to 48 business hours.
Okay.
And I'll caveat this with there's a lot of gaps in this current process because it's still relatively new for us.
Okay.
And so there's tons of room for optimization, which is what we're doing now.
Hmm.
So they get it, it comes in. I send a personalized Loom video,
No.
2 minutes, 4 minutes, um, while I have their app open, and I address any questions that they have. I kind of tell them if they're a good fit. If they aren't really qualified, but they can qualify for a downsell, which we have a downsell basically. I can make the downsell offer. If it seems like they need more one-on-one, I have like a one-on-one option.
Hmm.
So if like they come in and they look like a baller, like we have
Hmm.
someone that came in that does like my sweet spot for our program is like 300K a year to like 3 million.
Okay.
And I'll get some people that are like 3 to 5 million. I'm like, oh, I can really help this person, but like based on their application, I can already tell they would not want to be in a group environment. But
Got it.
like, I'd love to personally work with this person. And
Hmm.
so like I make a one-on-one offer. And so like I kind of have the ability to like take them where I want them
Hmm.
once I see the application. Um, 2 to 4 minute Loom video with pasted into a templatized email.
Hmm.
That video tells them to check out all of the details of the program, which is in that offer document.
Hmm.
And then I say, hey, I'm trying to keep this process as asynchronous as possible. If you have any questions at all, you can reply here. I'll answer them. Or you can send me a voice message on Instagram here, and we can go back and forth on voice. And if for whatever reason you're like, Greg, I am in, I would just love a quick chat with you, reply and let me know, and I'll happily hop on a call with you.
And that's done through email, that part.
That's the email. So it's an
Got it.
email with a link to the Loom video, a link
Yep.
to the document, a link to my Instagram if they want to message me with all of the direction on what to do. It's
Yep.
like 8 sentences long almost.
Okay. Okay.
And um, people reply back saying I'm in, and then I send them an email that's templatized with the order link, and I tell them what the steps are. Um, I get people back to have questions. I'll reply back answering the questions. Then
Okay.
I'll take those questions and I'll put them back into the FAQ section of my offer doc, so it keeps getting
Okay.
bolstered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been getting tons of people that are like, I love the personalization of this. It felt like I was on a call and I didn't need to be on a call. That was great. Um, Definitely some people ghost for
Okay.
sure.
Yep.
Ghost.
Yep.
So that will just like they don't show up to your calls.
Right.
So that still happens.
Hmm.
And you can either choose to follow up with them or not. I have very minimal follow up on that because I'm not chasing anybody. I don't want to.
Right.
Um, they're already on my email list. And so like
Hmm.
that's basically the process. And so whether they buy the book, go through the email sequence, end up on the sales page, apply, that's what happens. Or if they're on a video, go to the sales page, apply, that's what happens.
Okay. So getting them to the application is where then the rest is pretty much the same, the same process.
Yeah, you're only getting the application from a link in the YouTube video
Hmm.
or an email that I've sent because you're already
Hmm.
on it, and or if you find the sales page off of our website, which you can, which is
Yeah.
fine.
So the
That's it.
difference here on what you're doing is also a little bit in reverse of like what has been typically done, which I'm even considering like just even for like market research, I think doing the calls is a good thing in the
100%.
beginning. In the
Yeah, I've
beginning.
had over. Yeah, key.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
I've taken over 1,000 sales calls for the same offer. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. You've got enough data.
you have like
Yeah.
you ha- if you have a proven offer and you are confident in it, making the switch is a whole lot easier. If you're
Yeah.
like coming in and you've never sold before,
Mm.
it's gonna probably be a little bit harder unless like you're following someone that knows like there's handful of like different formats for these offer docs
Hmm.
that work, but they all work given on the context of how they got the offer doc,
Yeah. 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 Of
like how
course.
early.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, of course. It's like again building that trust, right? If they have
yeah,
the trust, then all they need is to know like what are the details, what are the deliverables, but also what's my commitment, and I got to decide if I'm in or if I'm out.
yep,
But so like the other way that's been typically done is you're basically saying like, hey, if you'd like a free strategy call,
yeah, yeah,
right? Get on, and then you basically can see if you're the right fit or whatever. And people don't really know. They know, but they don't know that you have
hmm,
something to offer.
yeah,
With what you're doing is you're saying like, hey, we're going to be opening up so many spots or whatever. You're on this workshop. We've set aside, some spots or whatever. If you'd like, just go ahead and click the application, fill it out. We'll get it, and we'll see if you're a good fit, and go from there. That's kind of like, so you're basically saying you're applying already for this program
yeah,
instead of it being the other way where it's like, hey, we do have a program. We are pretty selective on who we let in. If you'd like to have a strategy call where we can see if we're a good fit, then you're almost teeing it up like an application. But the
yeah,
random, just like, hey, I just want to be a good person. Let's just hop on a strategy call. That can kind of be like now all of a sudden it turns into like they don't really know that there's something to buy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think depending upon your market, and like most of us are online business owners, what I've found is that most people understand now that a strategy session is a sales call,
Yeah.
which is part of why they don't want to be on sales calls.
Yeah.
And so even the good-hearted person who's like, this is genuinely a strategy call, like you're up against whatever preconceived notion they have about that,
Mm,
whether you call it a breakthrough session, an audit, or whatever.
mhm,
Most people in the agency consulting coaching space, I would argue, know that what they're getting into when they hop onto that. And
mm.
this goes back to like the VSL world, like only a few years ago, everything was kind of sales heavy. Like you get them on like little content, little context. Let me get them on a call because if I get them on a call, I can get them across the line. And it was like, this is where a lot of that like pressure came
Mm.
from.
Yeah.
But now it's like your sales can be super soft and light if you're marketing heavy.
Yes.
And so, like, let me give them as much information and context, understanding about me, my worldview, how we approach things.
Hmm.
And then, even when we did do that as we were transitioning and we did do the two call approach, they'd apply, we'd have a discovery call. And if it was a fit, I'd just say, hey, look, I'm going to send you the details of the offer. We can have this second call, but we'll use the second call to answer any questions that you have.
Hmm.
If you read this document and you're like, actually, this is not what I'm looking for, just let me know. I'll cancel the second call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was our transition. And for the people that didn't cancel, they would show
Mm.
up to the second call and they'd have like one question and they'd be like, I'm in. And then
Hmm.
they just like, so like a 45-minute sales call was like just
Yeah.
taking their credit card and buying and
Right.
answering one question. So it was like, it really, they're like, I love this experience, like no
Mm.
pressure, da da da. So like that was our hybrid in the middle.
Okay.
So I think that could work too. But it all again all comes back to the marketing heavy piece. And
Hmm.
the marketing heavy piece, to me, in my opinion, summed up is if you are doing a ton of short form like LinkedIn posting, Instagram Reels,
Yep.
like you'll need at least some sort of VSL that is longer form
Yeah.
to before they book a call or apply.
Hmm.
And so you need that long form asset, which again could be a VSL, could be part of your newsletter, could be YouTube videos,
Yep. Yep.
but you need the long form to get them to that 7 hours. And if, especially if you want to make the sale
Mm.
experience
Hmm.
like light and effortless, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's like going heavy on the content so that way there it makes the offer process simpler and easier. Really
Yeah.
easier. It's like you don't feel like you are selling. You're just basically answering questions or just seeing like if we're the right fit. And they've already been sold in a sense on you. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of is this going to be the right fit and financially is it okay for me to do it right now?
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you watched the Hormozy book launch.
I did not.
Um, and I don't care whether you like him or not. Everyone has
Yeah.
their own views. But like, what I thought was really interesting, he released this video before the event, like kind of a behind the scenes YouTube video, and he was
Yeah.
like walking through Vegas because that's where he lives, and they were filming ads, like the last bit of ads for the thing, and someone passerbys were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what are you filming?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm launching my new book."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Have you heard about it?" And the guy's like, "No, like, who are you?" And
That's great.
he spent 4 million on ads,
Yeah.
has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and literally people walking by him in his hometown still have no effing clue who he is,
That's
right?
amazing.
And so like that was interesting because like just speaks to, and he'd been promoting for a month.
I
Like,
know.
so it's like,
Yeah.
how have you not seen this is
Yeah.
almost like the question. And then a lot of people were like, all right, like, he built so much goodwill that you could have just hopped on day one and like said, here's how to buy the book.
Hmm.
But he went 3 days straight on YouTube Live.
Mm.
And if you like look at the content, it's like back to that person walking on the street. Everyone that was like, I wish he just gave me the link to buy the book. Like, yeah, that's because you've been following him for 3 years.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't need to hear all those stuff, but like, he sold, I think, like almost 3 million books or 2 million books in day one, right? And he
That's
was
crazy.
live for like 9.5, 10 hours. Like if anyone watched that whole thing and was new to his world, back to that 7-Eleven 4, it's like the one day you were convinced and you
Mm.
probably bought something, right?
Hmm.
And so it's like, but then he was on for 3 days. Oh, the person that couldn't make it, he did an encore. Like
Hmm.
he was basically on marketing for 3 straight days, and he's sold over $100 million worth of books, like breaking pretty much every record that's ever been known to man. And people
Mm.
are just like, he didn't have to do that. It's like, well, he didn't have to do that if he wanted to make, like whatever, like a smaller amount, but he
Right.
wanted to, like, he was in it to break this record.
Right. Right.
And so, like, it's like with 100,000 people watching or more live,
Mm.
that could have been
It's
a
crazy.
second 100,000 people on the second day or third day.
Right.
Like back to that 7 hours is like he's doing everything to get everyone up to the point like where he not as convincing, so you can
Hmm.
argue convincing, but like getting them to the point where they know enough about him, they trust him, they believe in it, and they want to buy at least a $30 book or something.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
just goes to show like how much can be done with enough content.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think though it comes down to also like you had said, and I really want to highlight this while we wrap up, is you created the system or you created the outline, the plan that
Yeah.
fit you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one because that's what
Yeah.
I've wrestled around with that. I know you have. It's like you do have the the comparison thing that comes in. I mean, over the years
Totally.
I've had it. I have a lot less now because right now I'm not like you said, I kind of feel like a grumpy old man because I'm
Yeah.
like I don't care about the social media. I don't
Yeah.
want to be on it. So if
Yeah.
I don't want to be on it, why am I going to put content on there even if I hired someone to do it? I don't want to be there. It's
Yeah.
like I want to keep things simple. And it's funny, I
Yeah.
go back to the day I started 17 years ago. I started with two things: YouTube,
Yep.
email.
Yep.
That was it.
Exactly. And that was me too. That's why
That
I'm
was
like,
it.
that's it. It's like, it's all you really need. And again, like, there's a lot of people that are winning with just YouTube and email.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like, I have clients that are like, 30 and have no kids, or like 28 and have no kids. Not many, because
Yeah.
most of them, again, align with me. And so, like,
Right.
they have families. But like, you get the person that has a different circumstance, and like, should I be doing X, Y, Z? I'm like, well, if I had as much free time as you, like you're not married, you don't have kids, and
Hmm.
you are actually excited to work all the time,
Yeah.
then like these are the things that I was doing.
Hmm.
Spend
Right.
more on ads, get on as many sales calls as possible. It'll
Hmm.
accelerate all of the results.
Hmm.
But like if you have two kids, you're over 40 and like money is, you know, secondary to lifestyle,
Right.
then yeah, like some of these moves might be relevant. And
Right.
I was dumb back then to like, I'm really good at following instructions. So I followed the stuff, but as I was following it while my life was changing, I had two kids, like, and it's like, okay, well, like the things that were a priority before are not a priority now,
Hmm.
especially when I realized that that old way, which a lot of people still talk about, is
Hmm.
it's like high revenue, but like very low profit
Right.
when done incorrectly. And it's shockingly easy to have it be very bloated quick,
Yeah.
between cost to acquire and like your team. And so, yeah, like to build based off of profit and staying lean, you need a lot of those constraints. And it's like when someone's like, oh, well, you should or you could be on all these
Right.
platforms because AI can do it. It's like, but even if I wanted to do it, like that's still more work. Like, so it's like
Right.
I either need to hire someone or I need to use a tool. I need to then repost that content. Let's just say that equals 2 hours, whatever. That's a dope mountain bike ride for me. like, like I'd rather go do that. Like,
Right.
than
Right.
have whatever 20 more views or however many views it's going to be,
Right.
or one extra customer, right? Like
Right. Right.
I'll hit my targets by
Yeah.
running this playbook, and it'll get bigger and bigger as I
Yep.
get better and better at executing the 1 to 2 moves.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think there's certain people where it's like there's been this pull and draw to like be everywhere.
Mm.
And now it's like, oh, actually, it's still very possible to get way more with
Mhm.
way less than everybody else is doing.
Yeah, no, no, I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna end on that.
Boom.
Lifestyle to me is like build the business for the lifestyle. I think that's the thing here, and you can do it. Like you've shown, like you can find a system that works for you, and you've went from sales calls to then like a hybrid, and then now you're kind of like going with no sales calls, but you have some personalization built in there with the Loom
Yeah, yeah.
video and things like that. So I love all that. So hopefully. if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, you got to be everywhere. Hopefully, you know that you don't, and you
Yeah.
can create the system that works for you. So, Greg, I want to thank you once
Thank you.
again. This has been awesome. It's been great catching up. I'm
Yeah.
sure we're gonna have to do another deep dive. I might even have to do one where you can just tell me everything that Hermosi did because I don't even know a thing because that's how much I'm not on social, and
I
I
only
honestly,
watched like an hour of it, so
yeah, I
I'm
was
not the
like,
best person.
when
There's a
that
ton
whole
of
thing was
YouTube
happening, I'm
videos.
like, I'm just gonna ask someone that is paying attention to let me know. I know he broke a record, but it was like I don't even know what he sold. I don't even know how he made his money. I don't even know any of
Yeah.
that. I'm like, right now I'm focusing on what I want to do. So
Yeah.
anyway, and I'm not trying to be a Hermosi. So,
Yeah.
um, but anyway, I appreciate you spending time. Any last words of advice before we wrap, and then let people know how they can follow what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think this is just a good conversation. I think, if you vibed with it, I have a ton more content on kind of how we do things. You just go to gregsvideos.com. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, and you can get those 7 hours in.
Nice, nice. I love that. Greg's video. That's great. You went and bought the domain for that.
Yeah, Greg's videos just redirects to my YouTube channel.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Greg. Appreciate it. Enjoy the mountains and the
Yeah,
mountain biking,
I
and
will.
we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, man.